We're in Salt Lake City, Utah, a city I've never been in. Wow, you'd never know this was in a major city. So many trees, clean, nice layout. This is one of the nicest campgrounds I've ever stayed at. Every amenity you can think of. I not only have my own picnic table, but my own little yard with hedges on either side for privacy. And it's quiet for a city campground too. I haven't needed to use white noise to sleep. I decided we'd walk to downtown Salt Lake City. The weather is perfect. I looked on Google Street View and these beautiful sidewalks will just take us right into the city. It's 2.2 miles to get there. We'll probably walk about 6 miles total today, which Shrimpy and I have done many times. The challenge will be when Shrimpy gets overwhelmed by the city and I have to carry her on my back. She weighs 13 pounds. So I have the Uber app ready just in case. What do we have here? It's an old motor lodge. I can't find too much info about it, but I did find an old postcard being sold on eBay. This motel was built in the 1940s. The postcard says, "World's most photographed motels, swimming pools, and fairyland." That sounds like a bold claim, but how many motels had 2 swimming pools and a fairyland? A heated pool. That must have been a novelty at that time. Behind the pool, they have a reproduction of the Utah desert. The kids' pool had a slide. Fairyland consisted of various animal statues. 80 years later, some of the same animal statues are still there. Both swimming pools are still intact. And somebody submitted a photo of this old billboard to the Library of Congress. Hey, it's a piece of American history. Americana. Right next door to the motel, covered in stickers, you can get some killer Mexican food at the Red Iguana. I see that Salt Lake City has its share of homeless, like every other American city. Another reason I chose to walk into the city is that there's a lot of construction going on in Temple Square in the middle of the city. So I wasn't sure what the driving or the parking situation would be like. I made no specific plans, just wander around for a change. This sculpture is called First Day of School. Family is central in the Mormon religion. It's a pleasant change from what I usually see in every city, which is war-related statues. It's nice to see a reclined bear cub instead of a dead soldier, for a change. Three crystal monoliths. It looks like Native American petroglyph drawings. Probably a lot of that in the Utah desert. Look at this magnificent Victorian mansion. Mormon President Brigham Young's son owned it and then sold it in 1867 to Salt Lake City's first millionaire. He was an entrepreneur named Jennings who lived here with his 2 wives and 25 children. It probably wasn't even big enough for that many people. I see an old train depot with a big Union Pacific logo. Built in 1909. The railroad companies were said to be relieved to have clean, sober, polite Mormons to build these structures, instead of the usual rowdy, whiskey-drinking, gambling, Wild West types that were available. Now we're in Temple Square. Looks like it's blocked off because of the construction. I can only see the top of that structure. Some very friendly young Mormon women show me how to get in here. It's not completely closed off. This is Assembly Hall. It's used by the Mormons for lectures, recitals, and free weekend concerts. 24 spires pointing to heaven. The Mormon Tabernacle Choir sing in that domed building, which is considered to be the most acoustically perfect structure in the world. A monument to seagulls. The first time Mormon pioneers planted crops, they were destroyed by crickets. The pioneers prayed, and some seagulls swooped down and ate all the crickets. It's called the miracle of the gulls. Mormon pioneers couldn't afford the bigger ox-drawn wagons. They walked west across the plains with all their possessions in a cart. A few hundred died along the way, but 3,000 of these hand-cart pioneers survived the journey to the Salt Lake Valley. Unfortunately, I won't be seeing the temple. It's being renovated under the watchful eye of Brigham Young. That is the gateway to Brigham Young's house. It's called the Beehive House. Beehives are a symbol of Utah because of the honey production in the state. To Mormons, it's more about the unity of the honeybees and how they cooperate. They're very productive. This house was designed by Brigham Young's brother-in-law, who was born in Rhode Island. He was the brother of Brigham Young's wife. His name was Truman Angell, and he designed most of the historic buildings in Temple Square. Brigham Young's wife, Mary Ann, also from Rhode Island, must have been lonely because she's the one who gave him permission to have as many wives as he wanted. He then married 55 other women. Mormon men all wear the same dark blue suits. The history and some of the beliefs of Mormonism is just bizarre. But the success of the Mormon Church is not just that it's a fairly new religion that has already grown to 16 million members. It's a global business empire. The Mormons have their own bank. The church has a $100 billion investment fund for the second coming of Christ. They've operated 15 hospitals over the years. City Creek is the Mormons' commercial real estate empire. They own department stores, hotels, and oil refineries. The church owns an insurance company with assets of $3 billion, media companies including a newspaper, a TV station, 11 radio stations, and a publishing company, numerous colleges where they produce educated disciples of Christ. The Mormons own office buildings, residential buildings, and parking lots. They have investments in Hawaii, including a sewage treatment plant, 2 cemeteries, and a Polynesian cultural center, complete with an all-you-can-eat buffet and luau's. The Mormon Church also owns millions of acres of land where they run ranches, farms, and orchards. They've bought farmland in a dozen other countries. They own Salt Lake City and everything in it. Mormons have achieved the American dream, wrapped in scripture and served on golden plates.